And today I have a special guest with us. Her name is Bernadette King. You've certainly heard of her and seen her work. This is her latest, the ARK Animal Tarot and Oracle deck. And this is a special anniversary edition that is just massive and magnificent, and you really need to pick up a deck today. Now, Bernadette is a shamanic practitioner, evidential psychic medium, tarot reader, and teacher. She's the creator and channel of and publisher of the ARK Animal Tarot and Oracle deck and whatismyspiritanimal.com. So she works closely with the animal allies. Bernadette's created a powerful new system for journeying and working with spirit, totem, and power animal energy medicine. So welcome,
Thank
Bernadette.
you. It's just an honor to be here, and just congratulations on your new presidency and COVR. And great things are going to happen. Great things are going to happen. So thank you for asking me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I was like, yeah, that wasn't me making that noise. She's going to have a dog.
Loma.
Oh, puppy.
She has been asleep all of this time, but now that I'm doing this,
of course.
She's going to wake right up and chit chat with us. Well, first of all, I want to talk to you. We have a lot of self-published authors or people who want to publish out there. And so talk to me a little bit about how you got started. Everything is like going off all at one time. There we go. How did you get started?
In which part?
In publishing.
So when I did a big transition, like a lot of people do, I looked around at a business that I'd been in for many, many years and went, I can't do this anymore. And that was just about the crest of the wave of the internet coming and all that kind of thing. And in the business that I was in, I was very fortunate to speak with a lot of people in very high levels in marketing and that kind of thing. And, the big buzz at the time was invest in the internet. Like a schmuck, I didn't, because I didn't understand it. But a couple years later, I did understand it. And I started learning everything I could about publishing on it and how it worked and how you monetize it, do this and do that. And so it just kind of grew. And then I wasn't very tech savvy at all. And I was in a meditation one day, and I was literally downloaded with a blueprint for an all-inclusive metaphysical site that had like angels and numbers and, auras and chakras and tarot and all of that, but I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to physically create it. So I cried about it for a couple of years, like a big baby, and tried to find someone to partner with that knew that part. And every time I thought I was getting close, the partnership would blow apart. And finally, Spirit said to me, okay, look, you've always owned your own business. What is the problem now? Just do it. And I was like, okay. So my then ex-husband said, look, why don't you just hire a mentor or a coach? You're a big fan of education, and just have them teach you. And I was like, right. So I did. So the first the first site I started was Building Beautiful Souls. And it did very, very well in the first few years in the search engines. And then I walked out of my bedroom one day and my house was full of animals. And they told me about starting whatismyspiritanimal.com. And today, this has been like a 6-year journey for both sites, 6 or 7 year journey for both sites, but I get over 1 million visitors a month to the sites. That's amazing. I have another site that I've started, wisewitchcraftandwitches.com for the pagan Wiccan community. And that just started last year. It's already going very well. I'm upping forums this year. So I was already in the publishing game. And then in that way, and when the animal allies came to me and said, okay, now it's time to create a tarot and oracle deck, I went, but I'm not an artist. And they went, yeah, and you weren't of this before either, and you weren't of that before either. So a lot of people ask me where I found my artist. It's the kookiest story. I put out a job posting on Upwork.com. And I just didn't vibe with anybody that wrote, and they were like, yes, it'll be $500 an image. And I was like, no. And so finally this gal, Heidi Sutherland, came along, and I almost didn't respond to her because she had a kerfuffle with a client. Her ratings were terrible. But my gut, the animal ally, said, no, you should talk to her. And that was it, man. We started on this journey. And she didn't really know anything about metaphysics. She had an idea and loved it very much, and really considered her family pagan because of their lifestyle and the natural and the back to earth and the, but together we were able to communicate in such a way that I art directed the shiitake mushrooms out of this deck, and her creative mind is just, it's not of this earth. So between the two of us and looking at over 50,000 images of animals, because that was the other thing. Yeah.
This cover is just so much fun. And I'm going to open it up to the scarab. Look at the scarab. You can.
That's a picture of a real scarab.
Yes.
Yeah, there are very few. With the main deck has 100 cards in it, and then there are 49 extra cards that you can get. They're add-on cards, but the only two animals you'll see repeated is there's the snake card as the tower, and then baby snakes are part of the mom and babies pack, and then owl is the moon card, and then two kissing owls are in friends, family, and lovers, and those are the only two animals repeated. That means there are 146 completely different animals. And the other thing is, other than the mythological, it's my favorite card. The sun card is my favorite card. Now, you'll see me wear suns all the time, but the mythological animals are the only animals that aren't pictures of real animals. But if you look at the Minotaur and you look at the unicorn and you look at the Pegasus, they actually are real animals that have been used to create the rendering. And then there's literally one animal in the main deck that is, we just couldn't find one that was a good enough picture. But the artist rendering, I bet if somebody $1,000, they can't figure out which animal it is. $1,000, they won't be able to figure it out.
Wow.
So anyway, so I went into self-publishing. Listen, I love the publishers out there. This is no disrespect to them, because for people who don't know how to do what I know how to do, or aren't dumb enough to take it on like I was. I mean, I'm not the sharpest. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I'm just hard-headed and relentless. Right. And so, I recommend going with a publisher if you don't want to do all this stuff. But if you can do it, it was a business decision for me. But remember, I'd spent years building my tribe and building my following on my websites. So when I raised my Kickstarter, and we raised almost $50,000 during the Kickstarter.
Amazing.
And I thank you for that. But there are people out there that do 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. I could never wrap my head around why we didn't do that much, but it was perfect. It wasn't what it was supposed to be. And the next time, who knows? Because I've got a book coming out next year. And just like the ARK is the most comprehensive any body of work, period. Yeah. Animal symbolism. The book in the ARK is 386 pages. There are more animals in my deck book than there are in any other book that's on the market now. But my book that's coming out next year is 333 animals. And and then there's another deck. So for me, it was a numbers thing. When I took a look at publishing contracts and then I boiled down my numbers, what I knew I could do myself on a very conservative level, I was like, well, self-publishing it is. And, listen, I'm in the metaphysical business. You think I didn't get an astrology reading and a psychic reading and a mediumship reading, and I had the numerology? I had all my reports on my vision board. And I was like, okay. And I asked for signs along the way. And for me, it's bear. My God, the bears that came out in the kookiest ways. I was like, okay, one and done. We're done. We're doing this. And, it's been, sometimes when I'm packing decks at, midnight, I'm like, I need a publisher.
It's the whole doing yourself. Like, oh my God, box after box. Yeah. It's very interesting. I too, the bear came to me several times in dreams prior to writing my book, my most recent book. And it really, bear is on a lot of levels about leadership and
protection, because you got to be a mama bear. I mean, you're giving birth to something. Right. And if you are not, and maybe that's a better way to put it, I'm a business person and people always want to know about business. I mean, I can talk the woo-woo all day long. It's my favorite thing to talk about, but
Right.
really at the end of the day in business, you got to be mama bear, because if you're
Right.
not so protective over your baby, you don't watch over it. And that's where people slip up in their businesses. It gets hard, or they don't know what to do, and they turn their attention away. And the next thing you know, they're calling the crime scene unit from Criminal Minds, and they're having an unsub looked after, a personality profile that, who stole my baby? But,
Right.
I make light of it. But when yes, you create a business, but, when it boils down to brass tacks, this was hard. It was hard. It continues to be hard every day, and
Yeah.
challenging every day. But you know what? Not only are people experiencing, just from the animals of the ARK, because other than Ted Andrews' original deck way back in the late 70s, I'm the
Right.
only one to use real images of real animals, which brings an entirely different kind of power and energy to the cards. So what's happening is people are having these crazy mystical magical experiences that they haven't had, and
Yeah.
it's totally attributable to the animals, and that's creating their self-actualization, their development as psychics and mediums and tarot readers and mystics. That's creating that. And
Absolutely.
then once that deeper thing gets into them about animals, even people that have done animal rescue and rehabilitation for years at really big levels are writing me going, oh my God, I knew I cared about animals, but this, and now they're compelled to do this. So it's
Right.
really, it's to help the animals of the world more than anything. And we're those animals. So if it helps you, the two-legged peoples, yippee. But the
Absolutely.
four-legged peoples is, that's where my heart is. So yeah.
I really like that it's really important to be honest with yourself, as you have been, and being honest with everybody here, that it's hard, and it's hard every
It's
day.
so hard.
And you definitely have to shift how you feel about things being hard. It's like, well, this is just how it is. So it's not, you don't have to feel sorry for yourself about it, but you do have to recognize that there is some sort of obstacle to overcome, something that you're not going to be great at, or something that you struggle with, along with all those things that you love. I mean, the creation part, I'm sure, was magical and mystical and wonderful. And then you get to the work part and the publishing part and the, you
Creating,
know,
creating it is fun, and it's mystical and magical. But by the time we looked at over 50, well, I'm between the two of us, we looked at over 50,000 pictures. And by the time I asked my artist to change out the 40th bee, she was like, I love you, but pick a bee. And it just wasn't the right one, because the bee,
bee.
right? Because it's the wheel of fortune. Like, it's got to be the bee. And she said that to me, and I knew my goose was cooked. And so I'm vegetarian, but my goose was cooked. But anyway, so I honestly, I literally prayed in desperation to the animal kingdom that night. And I was like, y'all, please, I don't want it. Don't you know, there was a new upload of a guy that I follow on Dreams Time, and he uploaded like 100 new pictures, and there was the bee the very next morning. Crazy story and true. So there you go.
I love it.
It was fun, and I love the times we worked on it, but it was hard. And that book is big, and can I just say one thing? Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
So I have some friends around in the publishing industry, and they all said, this is going to be too big and it's going to be too much money. And I'm like, why? Because a shishky little deck like this with just a black and white book in it is still $24.95. This one's only going to be $39.99, and it's double the everything. It's like double your pleasure, double your fun, for not even double the money. And they looked at the book and they said, people don't look at the books. And I was like, I don't think that's true. I think they don't look at the books that they don't think have value. And do you know, I have been asked literally at least 1,000 times, do you sell just the book? Do you sell just the book? Do you sell just the book? So I would really invite people to create the deck you want to create. Now, that doesn't mean to be verbose and just to write to hear yourself, watch yourself write. But what's the use of explaining to people about animal totems and power animals and spirit animals if you're not going to also explain to them, about the cardinal directions or numerology or color meanings or all of those
Right.
things that you, when you're interpreting messages, if you're
Sure.
not taking those holistic things into consideration, is it a
Absolutely.
full reading? Is it an in-depth reading? How accurate is it? How evidential is it? And that's my background, is evidential mediumship. That's how I got started. So,
Right.
you know,
Would you like to do a little reading for us with this deck? And
for
if you don't,
for you,
for the people, like the collective, those of us
sure,
who are
sure.
going to see it. It's really not
Oh,
just here,
hey
but
JR, hey Debbie.
who's gonna see it.
Okay, sure. When I looked who was here, you know, JR, I love you. I'll read for you anytime, honey. But when I looked at Debbie's name, my gut started to churn, and my hands are sweaty, and I feel nervous. And I'm wondering. Well, first of all, I'd need Debbie's permission to come to her with these messages. But would it be okay if they kind of are like that? I wouldn't call you out on anything super personal, but if you'll just type in the chat, would you kindly just give me permission to deliver those kind of messages? And are you going through, like, I'm even starting to sweat, are you going through a time where there's stomach stuff going on, whether physically or emotionally, nervous time, maybe you deal with anxiety? Okay, and so could you confirm that for me, please, that you maybe deal with some anxiety, or at this moment are going through that? And I hate to sound like a broken record, but I keep being drawn back to the stomach. So I don't know if there are digestive issues, or that's where you carry your anxiety. Or can you speak to that, please? And I'll start 100 cards. Yes, I know they're big. Oh, and that's the other thing. People told me they'll never buy it. That these cards are too big. They'll never. I'm getting my second order tomorrow of 8,000 cards, because
Amazing.
over 3,000 sold in less than a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not digestive, no. Okay, yes to all the stomach things, but not digestive. So it's emotional, it's anxiety, it's okay. So what I'm going to do is the way that Bernadette runs readings is I shouldn't have put that back in there. I just wanted to flip 3 cards, but the way that Bernadette runs her readings is I believe that specific questions and specific intentions yield specific results. So I asked what was most important for you to know at this time, Debbie, for everything that's going on. And with the messages that come through, you'll be able to understand what these animals and what these cards mean for you specifically, depending on the situation that you're going through. And so I'm going to try, because I do intuitive tarot. And so even though I know, like, I'm a symbolism junkie, I know the symbolism and I know how to put the stories together, I often kind of go off into that, psychic mediumship headspace. So the first card that came out for you is the Warthog card, which is very interesting, because you guys saw me just shuffle the cards, but you pulled the Warthog card. So
I did.
What that synchronicity immediately means to me is, so in the ARK is based on the Rider-Waite Tarot. So even though it matches the animal and the animal medicine and energy with the card, it's very Rider-Waite based. But the Two of Cups is it's just about perfect harmony between two things, and it can often mean something romantic, or it can just mean any kind of romance that you have. If you have a business, if you have something that you want to do for yourself, but it can also mean self-love, and it can also mean the relationship that you have with yourself. And it's really important. I keep hearing in my head from the animal allies, please make sure Debbie hears, because I know that you know this. Like, I feel this pounding in my head. You're a very in your head kind of person, like super analytical, and you want to be more gut based, and you're working on it. You're doing a really great job, but I keep hearing you gotta love it, them, they, you, warts and all. There's something that you've got happening, pardon me, I just really feel like it might really be romantically based. There's something you've got going on where it's important that you decide for the sacred union if you can love, warts and all. But conversely, you've got to find a day that you trust that when someone tells you they love you, warts and all. And I think that's been a challenge for you. So before I keep blabbing, is any of this making sense for you? Is this any of this resonating? Because I don't want to be up here telling you nonsense that, like, that's total crap. That doesn't have anything to do with me. So if you could just put a yes or a no, that would be great. And tip me off on a different energetic path. She left. She hates me now. Let me know if you want me to continue. No, yes, got, okay. So should I continue?
You know what I would love? Do you ever do, let's see, so here she's not, she said, Debbie says, LOL, I'm not sure. And then she says, I love it all.
I love it all. Okay.
Do you ever do like a collective reading?
Yes, I can do that.
Yeah, I'm interested in, because it's every state in the union, every country on the planet is having a profound time in this transformation. And right now I know there's been a lot of deep astrological transitions and transformations. And it would be an interesting just to take a little slice out of that.
Sure. So while I'm shuffling and focusing on that, because the specific, so what is the specific intention? Is the specific intention for the animal or card that will help people, help the world get most healed, have a faster journey forward? Like, what's the specific question?
What do they need? What do they most need?
Okay. Wow. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw this pop right out of there. So this is one of my favorite cards.
Oh my gosh.
So it's the croc snake and mantis. And I don't know if you saw it just pop right up of the deck, but here's what this card teaches.
I love it.
You got to have friends. And it's okay if those friends are different. And you can have mutually beneficial relationships no matter how different you are. Now that sounds like a yeah, duh. But the relationship between, I mean, it's one of the biggest things searched on YouTube, strange animal friendships, unusual animal friendships, unusual animal friends, all that kind of thing. But I would venture to say that because this card has come out, you've got a reptile and you've got an insect. Two or, amphibian, reptile-y kind of creepy crawlies, okay? These are not the most liked animals. Now, when you take a look at the praying mantis, we can always bring prayer into that. So I don't know that you need me to tell you, right, or the collective, that prayer is so important at this time, but prayer can be mantras, it can be manifestations, it can be sacred scribing, it can be any of those kind of things. But if you think doing that is not helping, I'm telling you, it is helping on the subconscious level, on the etheric level. It's helping more than you know. And then when you take a look at lizards, you take a look at an animal. Now, let's be clear about one thing though. As sweet as that sentiment is, the animal energy is always about keeping it real. And there's a flip side to praying mantis in that their mandible jaw is no joke. They will snap something in half. When they want to eat, they're lightning fast and they just snap it right in half. So that's always a call to watch your words, but not be afraid that if your words need to snap something in half, this is not the time to be, subservient. It's not the time to be, speak your truth in whatever way you want, but make sure that those words are authentic and run crystal clear, right? When you start talking about geckos, lizards, that kind of thing, oh my God, is there any more of an ancient kind of symbol for everybody about survival and growing back body parts and, just that whole connection to the earth? And, when you look at the creepy crawlies, is it a call for the world to look at its shadow self? I'm pretty sure that's been 2020. There have been an awful lot of mirrors that have been held up in an awful lot of places, and people aren't happy about that. But okay, what are you going to do? It happens. But what that shows us is the alliances will come together. That the difference in people, the coming wave that's not even forthcoming so long from now, we're right at the crest of the wave. It is going to be people that if you are old school and you turn around and you got something fussy to say or some ugly way to treat somebody because of their skin color, their gender, their this preference, their that preference, their whatever, somebody is going to call you out. They're not going to allow you to do that. And that change, it's coming faster than you think. Where the world, we will celebrate each other's cultural gifts that we have to bring to the table and be more tolerant. And y'all, I am one of the least woo-woo people. I'm very grounded in shamanism and reality and that kind of thing. And again, I got started as an evidential medium. If I can't produce the evidence for it, I don't consider it a real message. But
Right.
This message, whenever it comes from the animal allies, and I can't get like I was asking Debbie for confirmation, if I can't get confirmation, I can place my trust in the animal allies 1,000 jillion%. They're never wrong. We could be on here for hours. I can tell you stories that even you, as like this master psychic, tarot, like super high level metaphysician, even you would be like, what? So so that's the reading for the collective. So if you're out there worrying and you're out there, putting yourself through unnecessary trauma about, what will this day be like? Don't, because just have a good time during Yule, have a good Kwanzaa, Christmas, whatever it is you celebrate or don't. And just know that somewhere around mid-January of next year, it's going to be like, I can see clearly now, all those sunny songs. It's going to be like somebody flipped a light switch.
Nice. Beautiful.
There you go.
Well, this has been just terrific. Give me your website so that I can put it in the comments for people.
Sure. Thanks. It's whatismyspiritanimal.com. And there are hundreds of articles, free articles about animal, spirit totem and power animals, and checking out your animal by birthday. And there's a series on there about what your zodiac sign means as your original birth totem, just all that kind of stuff. I think it's a good resource. That certainly was a labor of love.
Good. Yeah, no doubt. And I'm sure I've consulted it multiple times.
Yay! I hope it was helpful.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you so much, Bernadette. It's just been a pleasure to talk to you. You're very inspiring for all of us on so many levels. From being a creator to being a business owner to just loving what you do and shining your light.
Thank you. The honor's all mine. I'm still trying to wrap my head around product of the year and the other awards. And I'm just so very grateful. And thank you guys for what you do at COVR, because it is not easy what you do. And you are now the chief cat herder. So, I honor you and applaud you and admire you, because I would run away screaming. You're a better person than I am, Tracee.
Well, if I need to, I'll be calling you.
Yeah, I'm happy to help in any way that I can.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. This has been Tracee Dunblazier with the Coalition of Visionary Resources and our Chatcast. And tune in. We do them every other Wednesday. For the most part, we'll start seeing you more and more next year. We'll be doing them. We'll be resuming them again in the new year in 2021. So you'll have to tune in for that. Have a terrific afternoon and be good to yourself.